First of all, thank you so much for this interview, and congratulations for the film here at Sitges. So you are also representing Never Let Go. So what can you tell us about this new horror film?
So Never Let Go is very different from everything I've done before. It's like a dark fairy tale about a mother living deep in the wood with her two sons. The world is gone, like some evil forces destroy everything, and as long as they stay in the house, or as long as they stay connected to the rope to the house, they are safe from that evil that can take any shape. But the real story is about those two boys, one who believe everything his mom is saying, and the other one who start questioning.
A story that may relate with what's going on in our world these days, with people that want to believe and people that want to ask questions. So
exactly, and the weirdest part is the people that ask questions are usually now, in a weird twist of things, are the people that are believing in the same time. So they're not asking real. I mean, like, we can discuss for a long time about, like the nature of the question and the pertinence of the question.
The question, maybe they are not asking that right now. We are not asking the right questions,
yes,
and we are believing in the right things.
That's it's about doubt and certitude, and about how this mother who will do anything to protect her kids might be the most dangerous things for them.
How did you manage? Because if we look at your career, you've always done genre films and mostly horror films. So how did you manage to have new projects that are fresh, that the audience doesn't go to watch the film and say, okay, I have seen this not only in another film but also in his career. So how did you manage to get new things done?
I think that before being a filmmaker, I'm a moviegoer. I love movies, I love stories, and I love scary stories. So I'm always looking for what I really would like to see, that I would like to experience as an audience member. And I guess I don't want to see something I've seen again. I've seen, like once more time, and something I'm too familiar with. So I love to try to find stories that seems to be very different and not repeat what I just finished. I mean, it's true, Never Let Go is so different from Oxygen, so different from Crawl or The Hills Have Eyes, but there is a little bridges, here and there. I don't realize that when I'm making them, but at the end when I watch, I say, oh, in fact there is some high tension, there is some, Hills Have Eyes into it. It's just like, it's like you cannot help yourself.
Maybe it's the sign of an author.
Maybe. I mean, I realize that also, like most of the movies I'm attracted to, the script, the story that I want to tell, are always kind of set in a very contained world or time. That there is some feeling of, we call that in French, the huis clos. I don't know, you say in Spanish, but the one space, one room. But it's always that, but a little extended. Like if you take Crawl is that neighborhood, that intersection. Here in Never Let Go, it's the house and the 100 meters of rope around the house. And that little world is always an opportunity for a filmmaker to create a microcosm, like some small world where I can really work on all the details and work on all the element to be sure I'm telling the story the right way.
Yes, you mentioned it. I had the feeling that there is an element, a claustrophobic element in your films, that unique set, that place, that basement in Crawl, that place, that horror place in Hills Have Eyes, that space in Oxygen, that pot, not space, that pot in Oxygen. So it's something that interests you, that characters are in a very close space, that feeling of claustrophobia.
There is something about claustrophobia, about lacking oxygen, lacking air, lacking like the space, the freedom. It is always like a very immersive starting point for a survival story, because we all have this nightmares. It's really like that primal fear of being tied, being buried alive, being suffocating. I mean, it's as long as I remember, like my nightmare as a child, they always go back to that feeling of being, like imprisoned somehow, like that feeling of being locked into some place. And even when we're scared, the first thing that your body does is to shut down and to get petrified. Like I remember being a kid and having this like night terror and not being able to even voice a call from my parents. Like it's something that's like, it is proper to fear, and I feel that it's proper to all like deepest, anguish.
There's also the grass between that and what is outside, that it's like the freedom is outside. In oxygen, the space, in growth there is the swamps and everything else. Here is the woods. You have also in the hills of ice the desert, and so on. So is that something that you also look to have outside? You are in a very claustrophobic place, but freedom is outside.
And freedom is outside beyond something that's even more claustrophobic. In high tension was the night. In the hills of ice it's the desert. In cold it's the swamp. I mean, like there is always something. Here it's the forest, and maybe the world being destroyed. I mean, all those elements are like I feel something that just had an element to that feeling of needed to survive.
And it makes the claustrophobia even bigger because you can almost touch freedom.
Yes, you can touch it, but you also know that the journey to it's going to be a long, difficult one, and it's a commitment. I mean, like what really interested me the most in Never Let Go was this journey of one of the kids who's going to try to cut the rope, get rid of the evil, and manage to access freedom and not die of anger in that house with his mom and his brother.
That's maybe a dream every child has, to cut the rope from their parents and be free.
You know what? I mean, in the movie, because it's really a fairy tale, in a way it's told, and the element, and of course the symbol of the rope is very obvious, and that like umbilical cord that you connected to your parents is something that's really. When I read the script the first time, it got me as a parent, but as also a child. Like the idea of when I try to protect my son, when I try to keep him away from danger, am I not just giving him all my fear? Am I not, by giving him on that rope, making him like a duplicate of myself and then like providing him to be free at some point? So how can I help him to cut the rope? And is it even possible? And you were talking about like making movies in the genre space. Am I not on the rope myself? Am I not just like kind of in my comfort zone of making scary movie? Should I not just cut the rope and go do something very different? I mean, it's all those questions that are kind of part of everyone's life.
That maybe horror is one of the most free ways to tell a story.
It is true. It is the way that gives you the most tool to tell a story. It's the most immersive way of telling a story. It's like the only genre where you use everything with one purpose. How can you create that experience for the audience? How can you create a situation where people will get themselves completely involved, hold their breath, tied on their seats, like where you create like temperature raising in the movie theater, where you feel that people are so invested in what's happening and jumping sometime in the same time. I mean, it's a very cathartic experience, and that is because you can use all the artwork, from sound, music, color, of course, writing, acting. Everything is a very free form of telling stories.
Since Haute Tensión, then Hill Have Eyes, Crawl, Sitges, now will never go. Most of your films have a huge female lead character. Is that something that you're looking for, or is something that just happened that way?
It just, mostly happened. If I look back, the Hills Have Eyes, the Piraña, I didn't do that on purpose. There is a mix of characters. Not in a weird way, but when I read the script, when I read Crawl the first time, I didn't read it as a female lead character. I was that young woman trying to save her dad. I really felt that I was, going through that experience with her. So I was not really. And going back to my experience as a moviegoer, when I watched Alien the first time, when I experienced the Silence of the Lamb in the movie theater the first time, I never had I'm not going to identify because it's a female lead. I was just with Ripley and Clarice, and I was really with them. I never felt in a different way. So that question that's very pertinent today and in the center of many conversation is something that I don't. I have, and maybe it's an illusion, and I'm aware of many people in the genre kind of going for female lead character to have this almost exploitative way that Hitchcock and many others shown in the past, and some of the slasher, obviously, story. But I don't see that a similar approach on what I'm doing. I might be naive and blind, and I'm doing it anyway, and I'm sorry about that, but somehow I feel that when I choose to tell the story of this mother, of Halle Berry, who's amazing in the movie, I feel that I'm talking about also myself as a parent, and I'm talking, of course, about my mother, and I'm talking about, I feel that there is a very, not universal, but something that I feel that I legitimately can talk about.
How, you just mentioned Halle in this film, how hard was to find her, the right actress for this role. She's also an Academy Award winner, so how hard was to find Halle Berry, or maybe to convince her to be part of the film?
So it was a kind of it was like a really nice story, because I was trying to get her in a previous movie, much more genre survival animal story, and I couldn't even reach her, get her to read the script. And when 21 Laps, who are the producer of Stranger Things, sent me Never Let Go, and I fell in love with the project, just a few weeks after, they called me and said, oh, by the way, Halle Berry read the script without us offering the part, and she loved it, she would like to meet, which was, for me, like not only a dream, because I always wanted to work with her, but an obvious choice. Because if you look back at her films and the way she brought that very nuanced and layered motherhood approach, if you look at Monster Ball, when she got the Academy Award for, the relationship she has with her son, the way she's very mean and toxic with him, but at the same time she loves him so much. There is so much reality, it's so grounded. So I knew that we could start from there and just build even more. And when we met for the first time, I remember her asking me and wanted to be sure that we were not going to compromise on the character, that we were not going to give up on all the darkness, on all the layer, on all the complexity that she wanted to bring to the screen, that we were going to even maybe develop and add more to it. And that's what we did. And I knew that from that moment, that working with her together, it would be the best way to actually be sure that the movie we have at the end is the movie you saw, a movie that has interpretation somehow, and I wanted to save that. I wanted to be sure that you can watch it as a fairy tale with different way of, like when I read the script the first time, it reminded me somehow, has nothing to do with it, but it reminded me somehow about The Shining. And the way The Shining around the family that's going to explode has so many interpretations. And every year or every 6 months when I watch The Shining again, because I love this movie so much, I see something different. I see another element, another interpretation, another meaning to it. And in that script, I felt that there was something that was kind of interesting enough to have those different interpretations. Somehow, sometimes the fairy tale, are not just entertaining. They're just not like here to get your mind off. They become this kind of way for us to go deeper inside us and face our own darkness, to face our own monster. That's why they were told for centuries to kids. It's a way to approach the adult world and the complexity of the reality of the adult world. And the script had that potential. It reminded me some other great fairy tale movie like Onibaba, the Japanese 60s movie. That's one of my favorite ones. Or even Carrie, like the Brian De Palma Carrie has that fairy tale approach to it, has that kind of once upon a time, that girl with power live with his abusive mom. And there's something about that I found in Never Let Go that I wanted to bring to the screen.
Last question. Crawl 2.
So,
what can you tell us about it?
So Crawl 2, I had so much fun, and I was so happy with the experience of making Crawl that I think from the moment we released the movie, we were already working on the sequel. We were already talking to Paramount and with Sam Raimi about how can we go back in the water, how can we reinvent other setup, do something different, something fresh, something bigger, something more scary. And so we've been working on this for a long time now, and it seems that the energy is here and the studio appetite is here, and hopefully the audience appetite will be here as well to get another Gator movie.
Same cast?
I cannot tell anything. This is as much as I can say.
Okay, I'll take that. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.